There are only a handful of builds in Destiny 2 that can literally do it all, and this is one of those builds. From S tier ad clear and topping the DPS leaderboards to ability spam and surviving the toughest endgame content, if you're looking for a Titan build that will be a permanent addition to your arsenal, then look no further. In today's video, I'll cover this powerhouse of a striker setup from the top down, including weapons and seasonal mods that will skyrocket its potential. Without further ado, let's get into it. It should come as no surprise that this powerhouse of an Arc Titan build centers around the age-old exotic chess piece, Heart of Inmost Light. I know what you're already thinking. Yes, Heart of Inmost Light was recently nerfed, effectively cutting its usefulness in half by, well, dropping the time duration of its exotic perk, Overflowing Light, from 10 seconds down to 5 seconds. What this exotic does now is essentially provide coverage for your ability cooldowns in between the rest of the build. The lethality of this exotic may have been quite literally cut in half, but it's still the best option in regards to all-around ability usage. Let's quickly cover the subclass, aspects, and fragments that set up the foundation for this build. Thunder Crash is a no-brainer here, as it's the best option Titans have for super DPS, and is also a fantastic quick burst super that allows you to fire it off and get back to business. Your Thruster class ability will double as both a movement option as well as having the fastest cooldown of your 3 options, and in a world where you want to use as many abilities as fast as you can, this one is so simple even a Titan can understand it. Your melee option is up to you, however I prefer the Seismic Strike Shoulder Charge, as with the 3.0 update it received the ability to also apply an arc blinding effect that renders unstoppable champions useless. And of course the Pulse Grenade, which ties directly into our aspects. Starting with Touch of Thunder, your Pulse Grenade will now create ionic traces as it sits on a target. What that means is if you have a single target, you can just drop your grenade right on their forehead and sit there doing damage with the rest of your arsenal while your grenade continuously gives you energy back. And with Knockout, your melee defeats will heal you and give you 6 seconds of increased melee damage while also making you amplified. For your fragments, Mark of Resistance is a no-brainer as it provides an additional 25% damage resist while nearby 3 or more enemies, and as a true WQ warrior, you'll be right up in your enemies' faces more often than not. Spark of Magnitude will increase the amount of pulses your grenade does from 6 to 8. Spark of Discharge will allow any of your arc weapons to create ionic traces. This is where you will look to your arc ad clearing weapons like Trinity Ghoul, Forbearance, even Cold Heart to create an endless wave of ionic traces. And lastly, Spark of Shock, which applies Jolt to any target hit with your grenades. As for the mods that juice this build and let you throw non-stop arc abilities downrange, there are a handful of key choices. Some of the key mods in this build are as follows. On your helmet, running an Arc Siphon to create Orbs of Power, along with Ionic Traces for arc weapon defeats, and Ashes to Assets to give you super energy for grenade kills. On your gauntlets, Impact Induction and Heavy Handed are an S tier mod combo that will allow your melees, both charged and uncharged, to create Orbs of Power and provide grenade energy. Little known fact is that when you have Knockout active for its 6-second duration, your uncharged melee acts as a charged melee, which in this case can spawn unlimited Orbs of Power in that time frame. I threw on Grenade Kickstart to give some grenade energy back when using the Pulse Grenade. On your chest piece, feel free to slot whatever resist you prefer for the activity you're running. On your legs, Recuperation will give you a chunk of health back for every orb you pick up, while Innervation will give you grenade energy back for those same orbs, and the reworked Elemental Charge will give you armor charges for your grenade kickstart from your Ionic Traces. These can easily be swapped out for surges if you find that you prefer more weapon damage. And onto the class item, the mod Reaper is key, as your first kill after using your thruster will generate an orb, which you can stack with your siphon, creating 2 orbs from 1 kill, and Bomber and Distribution are there to boost your ability cooldowns every time you use your thruster. Lastly, there are a few seasonal mods in Season 21 that make this already S tier build even better, though it's important to keep in mind that these are only here for this season, and while they're extremely powerful, they're not necessary to make this build potent. Electric Armor will allow you to become amplified for up to 20 seconds. Amped Up will give you an additional 30% damage distance while you're amplified. Thunderous Retort will grant your Thunder Crash 30% increased damage while cast while either amplified or critically wounded. Shock and Awe will summon an AoE burst of lightning, like a mini Thunderlord Jolt, that jolts nearby targets when getting arc defeats while amplified. And lastly, the return of Lightning Strikes Twice, which gives you a 5-second period of 130% increased grenade recharge after throwing a grenade that can be refreshed with arc final blows. All in all, the Striker Titan has seen its fair share of buffs and nerfs over the seasons, but after using this setup since the start of Lightfall and everything from master raids and low-man content to seasonal activities, I can tell you firsthand that this kit will not leave your side if you're looking to use one of, if not the strongest all-around Titan builds in the game. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it or learned anything new, then a like is greatly appreciated, as well as subscribing to the channel for more Destiny 2 content. And let me know down in the comment section if you've used this build or something similar and what you think of it. That's it for me. I'm done. I'm out, and I'll see you all in the next one.